One night, while working late, a woman was disturbed by unusual noises coming from outside her house. Curious yet uneasy, she decided to investigate, and what she encountered was nothing short of terrifying.
Korang tak? Oh. Nak pergi mana? Oh. Nak pergi tangga nak buat maksiat ni. Mana nak pergi?
After coming face to face with a menacing entity, she retreated into her home, deeply shaken. Not long after, she ventured outside again to check on her neighbors, only to find the same frightening figure. In a panic, she raced back inside, but to her horror, the entity followed her. The video abruptly cuts off, leaving the outcome unknown and shrouded in mystery. The following is a pretty unsettling recording, which has been shared by Carrie E. She has uploaded this video to Reddit in hopes for somebody to help her. She states, "This video is from a camera setup in my ex's bedroom. It's set so that it only records if motion is detected. It detected motion on the TV and recorded this. My daughter, her stepmom, and my daughter's boyfriend have all felt strange since living there. They've all had issues with lights turning on by themselves, or turning on and not being able to turn them off. They've heard voices coming from my daughter's room when my daughter isn't there. Also, my daughter said that when she's in the shower, the rest of the house sounds noisy. Kind of like if there was somebody in the house making a bunch of noise, banging stuff around, and then when she gets out of the shower, all the noise stops. The house has already been saged. Should they sage it again? Move perhaps?"
It didn't even pick up that motion.
We see strange shadow person at the right side of the screen. Apparently, nobody was standing there in the room. And then it just starts to the left and is just gone. Nothing is known about where the shadow originated from. But this doesn't look natural to me. What an eerie encounter. Clip recorded at an ordinary family home, but it seems that something else is living in their pantry.
What are you doing?
When are we gonna go see the movie?
After we eat, we'll go to the movie. My dad is in town. Yes, go for it.
Next, we want to look at the haunted case of Charlie the Golden 18's owners. I love their adorable golden retriever and I'm a big fan. Turns out the owner has another channel on which he's documenting paranormal activity that is unfolding in his home. The profile is called A.S. Dixon 1983. Not much info is given, other than there are paranormal events unfolding, and they have been documented by a security camera in their home. This is the first incident. I know that this could just be dust, but it is the beginning of something really interesting. In the next clip we see how their little cat is getting disturbed by what appears to be some eerie poltergeist activity. And then there's that noise. Nobody has any idea where it came from, but it startled the cat pretty good. What the camera has captured on one of the following days, though, is what I find the most disturbing. Let me rephrase that. It was the same night that, besides objects being thrown, there seems to be an apparition that could have been captured. It almost looks to me that a semi-transparent shape is disappearing through the crack of the door. What do you see? Do you think it's legit activity? I have to give them the benefit of the doubt here. I really find it fascinating, to be honest. Whatever this thing is. This video was uploaded to a channel called FrostmareTV, which is owned by a young man who is supposedly living in a pretty haunted apartment. He states that he sometimes could hear some really eerie noises in the middle of the night, and ever since moving into the place, he also felt like he was being watched, but could never really put his finger on what exactly made him feel this way. One night he was recording a piano lesson, and this was when the eerie incidents that are about to follow took place. The recording was pretty old, and I fully remastered the footage for you guys. The young man is obviously experiencing a pretty malevolent and powerful haunting in his new place. And if that isn't terrifying enough, he had to acknowledge that a dark shadow entity was standing right in his living room that night. Possibly causing all the interference with the television, as well as all the objects that were being moved around. And no, he did not see this thing at the time. He would have bolted out of there, he states. It's quite the creepy thought, knowing that some evil force seems to be tampering with your devices late at night. The man had no idea what this thing wanted from him, but it is said that he moved out shortly after realizing that he wasn't alone that night, and I can't blame him for that. Clay Shiner recently posted a video on his channel that has left his community on edge. The footage, captured in Baxter, Tennessee, begins with what seems to be a routine scene. Clay is filming the forest in front of him as evening sets in. At first glance, everything appears normal. However, the calm is abruptly shattered when a tall, hairy figure slowly emerges from the shadows.
Do you see that? Do you see that? I'm afraid. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Valen, did you see that?
Clay's mounting fear is evident as he struggles to process the bizarre sight. The video ends abruptly with Clay urgently questioning a friend about whether they saw the same thing. This sudden cut leaves viewers in suspense, wondering about the events that might have followed. The figure bears a strong resemblance to the legendary Bigfoot, but whether this is a genuine encounter or a sophisticated prank remains unknown. Regardless, the unsettling nature of the footage is likely to make anyone hesitant about venturing into the forest. Next is one of the most terrifying cases that had been documented in the past few years. These are the recordings of Veronica Shannon, a single mother that was living in a pretty haunted apartment. She described these incidents as pretty strange and thought at first that somebody was playing a prank on her, which is why she decided to get video cameras in her apartment. She ended up seeing some very strange things in the recorded footage. A skeptic at first, Veronica moved a few months after seeing all these strange things at her place. She heard a lot of unsettling noises and one night saw the following standing in front of her bed. It does look like a creepy person was standing there, but what exactly it was is really hard to say. Some believe it to be an old man, but who can say for sure? What is your opinion? Now let's check out another truly terrifying case that has been recorded by Mikaya Noel 98. And the following was documented in the house in which she lives with her family. Another hotspot for paranormal activity, it appears. Many members of her family have actually come across some pretty unusual events, as you will hear in a minute. Let's listen in to a little backstory to what had happened in her video.
So that's the dining room. I was walking into my parents' bedroom, right? Normal, okay? So obviously this is my sister, but when I was in here alone, I was walking out of the corner of my eye, I see something, so I turn and look, and it's a figure of a woman, and she's a little bit taller than Sophia, and it was just the top half of her, but she was like grayish white, and I could see completely through her, and all of a sudden she does this, and then she just takes off like a flash into
So if we believe the reports, it seems that the spirit of a lady is roaming several rooms of this old house. She has been seen at different times during the day by different people, just running into the wall. What could be the meaning of this? What appears to be following might be one of these encounters that Mikaya could capture with her phone. And with that said, let's see the apparition. The hallway is so black that it is hard to make out at what exactly we are looking at here. But yes, a shadow seems to be running in the back. Why would anybody run in sheer darkness? What do you think? Laura was at home alone with her 2 children, relishing a rare moment of quiet in her bedroom. Suddenly, an unsettling sound began to fill the room, a persistent, eerie knocking on the bedroom door. As the knocking grew louder, a wave of fear began to creep over her. What could be making this noise?
Who is it?
Me,
Who's me?
your son.
Aren't you at your friend's sleepover?
Hungry.
Who are you?
Your son.
What do you want? There's food in the microwave.
Eat it for me. Open the door, please.
Go to bed.
No.
Go to bed.
No.
The knocking was accompanied by a voice that sounded like her son's, but something was off. Laura knew her other child was at a friend's house, so she was alone with this disturbing noise. This wasn't the first time she had experienced something like this. Panicking, she tried calling her husband for help, but he didn't answer. Trapped in the dark and filled with growing fear, she waited for him to come home.
Let's begin.
Claudio? 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 Claudio?
The door creaked open slightly, but when Laura called out to her son, there was only silence. A cold chill ran down her spine as she quickly closed the door and waited anxiously for her husband's return. Could this be a sinister imitation of her son's voice? The answer is up to you. This video stems from South America and was uploaded by a concerned person. Apparently, paranormal events are nothing too unusual in this area. But what happened today was new. The person recording noticed the rocking chair in front of their home starting to move. But then there was something more unsettling that was visible in the reflection of the television. They believe that a shadow being from another dimension could have been responsible for this. Is this possible? Are we seeing a shape-shifting manifestation of something that doesn't stem from our world? Who can say? This footage was captured by security officers who were securing parts of an old mental hospital that was used for filming at the time. According to the video's description, the staff could hear some really eerie and unprecedented noises during the whole day. However, it wasn't until security reviewed the recordings sometime later that they realized they might have captured a ghost on their camera. We see an empty hallway, then there's a translucent figure that appears out of nowhere and walks through the picture. It all looks like a strange blurry object at first, but it is without a doubt that it must be a transparent person. The spirit walks further across the hallway and disappears through a doorway, just as several crew members come into view. None of them notice the creepy apparition, but it made this day so much more eerie. Most people believe that we can see the ghost of a former patient here. Could that be possible? If not, how else do we explain this sighting? Guess we will never know for sure. The next clip was uploaded to Reddit by user Hachi4496. He and his family have lived in this house for a while, however only recently started feeling a strange presence in their home. It started out subtle, just the feeling someone is watching you or thinking you see someone out of the corner of your eye. But soon it escalated. They started hearing footsteps and items banging around the house, doors closing on their own, and even speaking coming from rooms where nobody was inside. They decided to try setting up a few cameras to see if they could catch maybe an object falling on its own or a door slamming. What they caught was even more frightening. A black figure very quickly makes its way across the kitchen. If you look closely, it even appears to leave a black fog behind for a brief moment. The entity even seems to crouch down, avoiding the camera when it comes into view. While some viewers say this could simply be a bug, others are saying the way the shadow seems to intentionally avoid the camera, paired with the strange shadow and extreme speed, makes it look very different than other clips of insects on lenses. The shadow creature could possibly be responsible for the paranormal events, or is this all a coincidence? Let me know your thoughts about it. While they were attending a history tour, this young man could record an eerie shape of a woman in the hallway. What do you think? It's hard to believe that this is a visitor. Maybe an employee. Two men were finishing their shift at a cinema, preparing to lock up for the night, when they suddenly heard knocking sounds coming from somewhere inside the building. Unsure of where the noises were coming from, one of the workers decided to pull out his phone and start recording. As they searched for the source of the sound, the footage revealed an unsettling sight. It appeared that someone or something was in the projector room. Despite their insistence that they were alone and no one else should have been there, The mysterious noises continued. On another night, while performing a routine check before closing, the same worker noticed something alarming. A ghostly pale face seemed to be watching him from the shadows above. Was this an authentic ghost responsible for the knocking, or could it be an elaborate hoax? The decision is yours to make. Or something paranormal. The following clip is as strange as it is creepy. It was also captured by a couple who was driving through a rural area in their hometown. It is unknown if this area is notorious for any kind of ghost activity, but the next encounter made the two really question reality. They state that they were just driving along the road, then taking a left turn, and then a person appeared right out of nowhere. Of course, they were pretty freaked out and got out of the car immediately to check on the woman, but to their surprise, there was nobody there. A shadow hand seems to be moving in a downwards motion towards the windshield from the top of their car. Of course, it was impossible that anybody was on top of it after they took off again, so they suspect that this must have been a scary spirit encounter, and they state that they avoided this part of town for a long time after seeing this. Understandable and spooky. The following is a video that was uploaded by two urban explorers from Russia who state that they had come across a mysterious creature that night. They were venturing through an old tunnel system that led into a building which was right next to a bunker. They didn't know much about it and investigated it by pure chance. However, they discovered something in one of the rooms that caused them to probably never set foot into one of these again.
Ты видел, что там, блядь, было-то? И что? А ты сзади видел, что? Что это было? Ты видел провода? Охереть. Это что было? Зачем мы сюда пошли, скажи мне? Просто зачем мы сюда пошли? Так, идем. Я же говорю, сразу туда идти надо. Это что? Охуеть!
Many comments state that this could in fact be another rake encounter. People do think that this does look pretty similar to it, but of course these are just speculations. Could it perhaps just be a creepy person that was scaring these two explorers, or was it a hoax after all? Let me hear what you guys think. The following video was captured by a security officer who just started at a new location. He was patrolling the floors of an old college building, which has been said to be haunted for many decades. Apparently, a student was found in one of the dorm rooms who decided to leave this world several years ago, and people swear that sometimes they can see his spirit roaming the hallways. Before encountering something rather terrifying, we see and hear our guard patrolling in which is what I assume his natural habitat. All of a sudden, we see a shadowy figure disappearing behind the wall. And the man is seemingly in shock. He never found out what exactly this thing was. Perhaps the spirit of the deceased student. Spooky for sure. The following video was captured by guard Francisco Hernandez, who was finishing his shift when he heard a mysterious noise coming from one of the airplanes. He states that this is part of airline protocol, since they experienced a break-in some months back. As the man shines his torch down the aisle, a shadowy figure appears around the corner.
Verga. ¿Qué fue eso? No mames. Verga. No mames.
Trembling in fear, we see him exiting the airplane as fast as he can, and it is said that he clocked off only minutes later. What could our guard have captured here exactly? A shadowy figure that was looming around in the airplane? How eerie. But there was another incident that took place at this airport. A colleague of his noticed ghostly passengers that apparently were stepping off an airplane from the afterlife. And we see them going through a tunnel that is not attached to any physical airplane, which makes even more people believe that ghosts and spirits are a common sight here. Are these passengers that lost their life on one of these flights? Passengers of a plane that never arrived at its destination? A terrifying thought.